I'm on my best behavior today, guys. Cal,
Oh, that's
aren't
new.
aren't
That's
I?
new.
I'm on my best behavior. We're not even starting off the podcast with me laughing or giggling or anything, right? You proud of me, Cal? Give me
Uh-huh.
my props. Give me my props. Y'all forget. Oh, I can't wait for y'all to see this on YouTube. Okay. Welcome back to another episode of the Love You to Life podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth White, and that's my sister,
Calvalyn Day.
Girl. Listen, guys, we are so happy that you are here. We love it when you stop by and share some time with us. And today we got a good one for you. Are you ready for it? It's called the Broken Window Reset. Huh?
This is gonna be good, y'all. This is actually gonna be good. She's not just hyping up the episode. It's really finna be good.
I'm not hyping up the episode. Here's the thing. We told you that sometimes we'll find something on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram or whatever and be like, that's the episode. That's the episode. And so Calvin found this episode about this theory. It's really a criminology theory, but it's about a broken window. But we're going to kind of parlay it into something that is more applicable for our Love You to Life listeners. Calvin, would you like to take it from here? Tell the ladies about the broken window.
I will. And here's the thing, guys. We had an episode not that long ago. It was maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 episodes back where we were talking about preparing your home for abundance and the
Right.
different things that you want to do. But this is not necessarily about your home, but I think you're gonna get, was this a metaphor? You're gonna get the example that we're really talking about.
It's a great example, yeah.
The theory says, and this is like a criminology urban policy theory, okay? So, you're going to have to stay with me for a little bit. That says, in a community, if there are buildings with broken windows, it's a visible sign that there's something wrong in the neighborhood, right? So that if you are saying hey, we want to improve the neighborhood, we want to turn things around, you should actually go in and start taking care of those broken windows, okay? Now, here's the theory that why this might apply to your actual life. In your life, there may be a metaphorical broken window or something that's kind of signaling to the universe, your family, the people around you, yourself, your brain, your nervous system, that something here just ain't right.
Something is off track.
It's like inviting disorder. It's inviting chaos. It's a signal that something here is not being taken care of. So, for example, if you're not taking care of your home, this is not a signal that you are welcoming wealth and abundance into your home, so to speak. Okay. So there is that broken window motif, but the question I'm going to ask y'all today is, what are some of the broken windows in your life? Because this is not about windows and it's not about cleaning, but it is about the ways in which there's certain times where something is broken. It's not working. It's not okay. We know it, but we just kind of walking past that sucker because either we don't know how to fix it, we don't have the money, we don't have the time, we don't have the energy or what have you. And psychologically, it might be signaling to you that you can't be trusted with something that's better. Now, we really thought this would be the perfect kind of middle of the year episode because, a lot of times what happens is you start the top of the year, everybody wants to talk about new year, new me, and they make their vision board and they,
What? Uh-oh, she done got the
they
giggle.
make,
What? What are you talking? Oh, Lord. What?
they get on ChatGPT and make some type of image to put on their Facebook about
Please
how
don't take us to the ChatGPT images.
about
Please
how New
stop
Year
it.
it's going to be your new year, new life, right? Sometimes that happens at the top of the year.
And
It usually
ChatGPT
lasts
put
till
them on
about
with a BBL. It's BBL snatched with a BBL. ChatGPT.
it usually lasts till about January 7th, maybe the 12th, and then it falls off. But about middle of the year, top of the third quarter, we start to think dang, the year is almost over. And we start wanting to kind of fix stuff up again. If you set a financial goal for the year, if you haven't hit it, you ooh, ooh, I'm not on track. If you had planned on losing some weight, you realize you don't have your summer body. You're like, ooh. So around the middle of the year is when we tend to notice that we're not making the progress towards things that we want to the way that we maybe could. And so we thought, instead of doing a middle of the year episode where we tell y'all to start over, we thought maybe it might be helpful for us to start with what broken windows might actually be existing in your life.
Mm, and then she puts her head down as if like she's done now. Some take it from
Yeah,
here.
about insane.
So here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm thinking. We really want you to grab a hold of what we're talking about when we're talking about broken window. So the broken window is that something is out of place.
Mhm.
Something is not serving the purpose it was supposed to serve. How about this? Something is not protecting. There's a protection that was
Mm,
supposed to, so we think about a window. Vision might be different because if you're looking through a window versus looking through a cracked window, you might see something different, right? And so, is there something in your life that's like that broken window? And the reason why I love the idea of the original premise of it, the criminology part of it, because they said like the more you see something out of place, the more likely more out of place things are going to happen, right?
right.
And the first thing I thought about when you said that on the call or on the podcast here is lean on me.
Mm,
When Mr. Clark told that man, what was that man name, the head custodian? What was his name? Do you remember his name?
I
Now, now I gotta
don't.
go back and watch it because that's gonna bother me if I don't know his name. Because respect the elders, okay? Look, I'm acting like he's a real man, but the character, he told him graffiti come up and come down the same day. You remember
Right.
that? He told
Yep.
him that. He said,
Yeah.
graffiti come up and come down the same day because there's a feeling, there's an energy, there's an attitude that he wanted that building to have. And he's saying, hey, if we're saying that this is different than surrounding areas, then it means we are protecting it and we control the way that it shows up. We control how
Right.
it looks because people are going to experience that. So I need to ask you, what's going on with you regarding your broken windows? So here's some examples of a broken window. Is there a meeting that you're avoiding having? A conversation that you've been avoiding having? And now we at July and you still don't want to have the meeting. You still don't want to have the conversation, right? Is there something that has been just kind of like poking at you, vexing you, and you have not dealt with it? Right. What about the messages that you've stopped answering, the things that you were overlooking? Your inbox. Let's go to your inbox. How many people
Mhm.
got 7,200 in messages in your email? And I think that's telling you something, right? But here's the thing about it, like every single time you see that inbox, you have a thought about it.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to be asking is what are you thinking when you're experiencing something that shows up in your life like a broken window? What about the checkup you postponed? The mammogram you know you needed to have, the pap smear that you've been missing. You don't want to go get your teeth cleaned at the dentist. Like, what's going on with that in your body window? Do you have a broken window in your body? And then I got to hit you with this one. Seatbelts on, please. Cal, put your seatbelt on. Your business and career goals window. What about that one? Do you want to start a business? Have you always said that you want to be a business owner? Or do you own a business and you no longer checking your metrics? You're not paying attention to what your revenue looks like. You're not looking for marketing. You're not trying to go get some new customers. You're at work and you know that you qualify for another position, but you still are not applying for this other position. You're not asking the powers that be to take a meeting with you so that you can talk to them about how you can come in and razzle dazzle yourself in that role. What about that one? And then I'm gonna go ahead and say, I didn't tell Cal to take her seatbelt off yet. So the relationship window. So are you walking on eggshells with anyone? Are you having some conversations that are not honest? What about the friendships that you want to decline, but you still in relationship with these people? What about you not happy with your partner and you need to have a conversation with this person about like, hey, I look out for you in this way, you're not looking out for me in that way. Examples of broken windows. Yes, Catalin, you have something? Yes.
That's a lot of windows.
I'm just trying to give examples so that everybody can look for themselves. I'm looking for people who want to. Hey, okay, do we need more examples, or have y'all found yourself here? Is there something in your life that is out of place that you need to start to deal with. And here's an example. I want to give you this example. The thing about the broken window, when it's saying like, hey, deal with these broken windows, is because every time you experience that thing, you have a thought about that thing. It communicates
Right.
to you. So let's imagine you have a cluttered table in your dining room, or a cluttered table in your kitchen table, kitchen counter or kitchen table, okay? Every time you walk past it, all that clutter speaks to you.
My God, today.
That clutter says something to you. So, because when you look at it, you might not you may not be in the situation where you're about to deal with it right now, but you'd be like, dang, I need to clean that counter off. Lord have
And
mercy, that counter look bad. I
you
hope
do.
don't nobody come in here before I can clean that counter.
Ooh, that
Oh,
one.
I wonder if that thing is on that counter. Oh, I know I need to get that one bill and pay it, but it's somewhere on that counter. Like, you're gonna have that conversation. It's the same thing with a messy closet. Oh Lord, that closet look a mess. You might walk in there and get dressed every day for a week with all your stuff out of order, but you still have that thought when you walk in there, oh, that closet look a mess. Oh, that thing is not right. Right? Because all of these things will speak to you. It'll speak to you. So here's another example. So let's say you're the person who's skipping your medical appointments, and then a commercial comes on from XYZ Health Care. Have you had your teeth checked today? And you'd be like, oh God, I haven't done that. And so here's the thing about those broken windows. The energy that it takes to allow that example of a window to remain uncared for is robbing you of energy for another area, because the thought that you're having about that is actually the energy you could be using on something that actually pushes you closer to the true goal, closer to the real life you want to have, closer to the real you that you want to show up. But if you are stuck dealing with that broken window because you won't deal with it, then that energy is being wasted. That energy is going to something that's not producing for you in your life. Thought?
And you know what I'm thinking? One of the things I think is that the broken window also erodes your confidence,
I agree.
because you think about, all the different ways that when you just said, like, I hope nobody comes to the house. Well, what if you actually want somebody to come to your house?
Oh,
Like,
come
what
on
if you
now.
actually want a relationship? Maybe you actually want to be, you want a romantic partner, you want to get married, whatever the case may be. And yet you are silently kind of sabotaging that because the clutter on your table means I don't want anybody to come here. So even though you're saying you want a partner, you basically pushing away your partner. So you're not going to have the confidence to go, to even get a partner or to even put yourself out there for a partner because you don't trust that you would want them in your house. And so it really does. It was such a good, like, visual representation of it, but it really does show up in so many different ways. And it's, what's the word? It's insidious. It, like, literally kind of seeps out into so many different areas. So it might start with that clutter on the table, but that's really an indication that you're not paying your bills, right? And you're not paying your bills because you don't have you didn't get a raise or whatever the case may be. And, like, over and over and over again, and like it gets into every single area. So your window may not be one of the ones that we mentioned here, but if
Right.
you would look and say, I'm not exactly where I want to be, it's the middle of the year. I had some big goals, I had some big plans. It hasn't quite panned out the way that I wanted to. There might be an indicator that's a window in some way. And the other piece I think about the windows is sometimes, like, fixing a window is the cheapest thing, right? Like, replacing a piece of glass is not necessarily super expensive. It's not like you tearing down a whole roof or replacing an
Right.
appliance or something like that.
Right.
But the fact that you let that small thing go undone means that you don't trust yourself with the big things.
Mm. Good point.
And not having that confidence really does stop you from reaching those goals. And what tends to happen is when you identify a window, you want to just throw everything away. You want to, like, start all over. You want to do all the
Sweeping
things.
changes. Sweeping changes.
Sweeping, like you want, and I see this on I'm doing 75 hard. Okay, friend.
Girl,
Okay. And here's the
they
thing.
would have to give me 75 feather.
I have seen people do 75 hard well, and on day 76 they in the drive-through.
Yes, because but they have to give me 75 feather. Because I know they got a 75 medium. They might even have a 75 light. I just want
It's
75
called, they
feather.
have 75 soft,
Okay, well.
I don't think they have medium or light.
Okay, well, I'm just saying. I but here's the thing, it's because the brain science does not support those kinds of endeavors.
Right. Right.
That's why. The brain science does not support those kinds of endeavors. Here's an example. In my clinical work over the years, I've had to do support for people that are going through bariatric processes, right? So whether
Mhm.
they're going to do what's the gastric sleeve or BSG, whatever I think it's called. Um and so many times for months, a person was going to come in and talk to me about why they wanted this procedure, about what they were hoping to get out of it. But we would also be talking about what their changes they were willing to make to get ready for it. Like
Right.
there were steps they had to take to get ready for it because the new way that their body was going to adjust to food and the new way that their mind was going to have to adjust to food was going to be different. And so, in order to set them up for success, they needed small, little baby steps along the way to get them ready for that. Because otherwise, it was not going to be a good outcome.
Right.
And so the brain needs that. The brain doesn't need this overhaul. The brain doesn't need to do everything all at once. The brain needs small, continual, specific steps toward whatever the goal is, even if the goal is a big one. And so
Right.
when what we're talking about when we're talking about this broken window and how you can get back on track, sure, you might have I named a bunch of areas and you might think that there's 22 different areas that you want to work on right now. We're just going to encourage you to identify the one, start to take a little baby step and start to work on the one area at a time, whatever that looks like. But you first got to be honest about the fact that there is an area at all.
Right. And we didn't really actually talk about how the window got broke. Like we that's not I don't know that that's part of the theory, but
Girl, that's a good point.
we didn't really talk about how the window gets broke, but I think there's lots of reasons why the window gets broke, right? So maybe in your home situation, the countertop is cluttered because you don't have the support that you need, or because you didn't ask for the support, or maybe you're having a mental health challenge, or any number of things. So the reasons why the window gets broke are relevant too. So that might be a part of this conversation, because sometimes you didn't break the window and you being expected to fix it.
That
You
too.
didn't break the window, you steady walking past it, you steady having to live with it, and that can be, particularly challenging, right? So I think that's a relevant part too, but the other piece is, as we are approaching fixing the window, I want you to really get comfortable with the idea that that's a process too. So sometimes it's very, simple, like, oh, I'm going to call somebody and they're gonna come over and fix it, but maybe that's not in your budget or whatever the case may be. So there might be some steps. So as you identify those windows in your life, I don't want you to think about trying to fix all the windows. Okay. Maybe you got more than one broken window. Maybe you got a whole house full of, maybe the whole first floor is trash. Okay. I want you to really think about, what are those main windows that are the big signal to my brain that I'm not making the progress that I want to make, that I'm not getting where I want to get, that I'm not doing what I want to do. Where are those main windows in your home life, in your professional life, in your physical health? I was thinking when you were talking about this, like, I always have said, like, I have a set point to my weight, right? Like, have never thus far in my life been a thin person, right? I've been bigger, I've been smaller, but there's a weight, and if I get above that weight, my back hurts. It doesn't matter. I mean, it just is gonna happen. When I was pregnant, if I get above that number, up there I'm at. If I'm not pregnant, I get up there I'm at. And that happens, and it is a signal to me, girl, get yourself together. What are you doing, right? You probably have something in your body, in your relationships, in your finances, right? That is in disrepair. Okay. So identify what that is, and identify not just that it's in disrepair, but what is the standard? Because I think that's important. The important part of a broken window is there's broken, there's not broke. there's
Right.
there's there's broken and there is not broken and there's functional, right? Like, we want it to not be broken. We want it to look good, because you can put some board over top of it and the hole is covered. We don't want you patching stuff together in your life. We want you to identify, what would a fixed window look like in that area, in that relationship, in those finances, in your physical health? What would that actually look like? Get very clear about what that is because this is your personal decision. And what might be a broken window for you is not broken for me.
Right.
And what might be a repair window for me is not for you. So you have to be really crystal clear on what that is. It's a personal goal that you are in charge of. You
And
are responsible for.
one of the things I like about that too is like once you do go in the direction of fixing whatever that thing is or elevating it or however you want to define how you're taking care of whatever your broken window is, then it gets answered and the way that energy starts to go differently. So when you're working on whatever it is that is the broken window, it doesn't have to take that juice from you because you're dealing with it. So as an example, if we were using the true broken window idea, right? And you see it on Monday, but you know the repairman is coming on Friday, it's no longer nagging you from Monday to Friday because you've stepped in that direction and you know that Friday is going to be resolved. And yes, some things are not going to be resolved in 4 or 5 days. Some things are going to take longer than that to resolve, but the conversation is different and the energy spend is different. And Cal, can we go? This is not on our notes. It's not on our notes, but I want us to go ahead
You
and go there.
stay getting off notes, y'all. Stay getting off the note.
But I'm just trying to help the people. Cal, talk a little bit about the energy spend because we do reference energy a lot, and maybe if we have a new listener today or someone who hasn't listened to us very often, maybe they don't know where we stand on that. And so I want to just for a moment just pause and say what we think about energy. And so here's what I'm saying. Every single thing you do in your life is an energy spend, even if it's a thought. That there's
Mhm.
only so much energy for today. And every single thing that you're doing in this day, even if it's just a thought, is taking some of that out. So think about a bank account. A bank account has a certain amount of money in it. And if you write a check on it and you're spending money on your debit card, you got checks going out, whatever, there is a point of zero. And if you
Right,
need to write a check on that account that says zero, it's in overdraft. And when you get overdraft, you're going to get some fees, which means it costs you more because you have overextended that account. So we believe that every person has a certain amount of energy for their life for that day,
right,
right? We're going to use days, right? And when you're spending that energy, it matters. And so there are some things that are going to be taking energy from you that are not in any way replenishing you. And there's other big, little, small. And so you want to be managing your energy every day. Right? And it's not a physical energy only. We think about physical energy a lot when we talk about energy expenditure, but we're talking about emotional energy. And
right,
this one is the one where I know my sisters need more attention to, and that is the mental load, the mental energy.
right.
You want to add to that?
Well, we and one of the things we and even back when we had the Love Your Life Club, we talked about the energy of emotion. And certain emotions are higher vibrational, right? So like, you know how like, oh, I had such a good day. I feel like I'm high. I feel like I'm just on top of the world. That invigorates you, right? That emotion that you have is such an elevated emotion that it actually gives you energy. And you also know that if you experience a more, I'm gonna say negative emotion, right? You feel more depleted, you don't have enough energy. So it's not just the thoughts and the physical energy piece, it is the emotional part of it.
Right.
Because if you are walking past a broken window every day and you feel like that makes you look bad every day and you feel like it means that you aren't worthy of your space, you're not worthy of this opportunity or whatever the case may be, it's going to be very hard for you to have an elevated emotional state. Your emotion
Oh,
be very low. So if you're walking past a broken window every single day and you're saying, "But I want a promotion," are you going to feel confident enough to walk in there and ask for that promotion, to pitch yourself as the person that is capable of doing this job when you also kind of feel a little bit like a fraud because you just left a house with a broken window? And I think I've told this story on the podcast before about my broken rearview mirror. Did I tell that story?
you did, but it bears repeating because I don't even
So
remember the whole. Oh, yes, I do. I remember the story now, but go ahead.
So there was a time when I was trying to start kind of like a side hustle business, and it was requiring me to put myself out there and network with people. And two things you should know about me: I'm better now, but I was not a networker. Didn't know how to do it. Wasn't very good at it. Um, I was super inexperienced, very awkward, any any word you can use to describe not being good at something. I was not good at networking, but I was trying to get this business up off the ground, and so I was willing to try unique things. And one of the things I was going to try was going and like having a little, coffee chat to network. But I was driving a car and my side view mirror was busted because back in those days I was doing home-based therapy and I parked on the street in some inopportune neighborhoods with broken windows. And so they, I was parked on the street and somebody hit my window, just kept on going. They didn't put no note on the car saying, "Hey,
No
come
notes.
on."
No
Okay.
notes.
So here I am going to do this new thing, to present myself, to promote this new business and make what might be a networking connection. And I'm parking halfway down the block because I don't want nobody to see my broken side view mirror. So I took that energy in with me into the event, right? I took that energy in and it wasn't good. I just would say it
Mm.
wasn't good. But for some of you, you're saying like, "Oh, I just wish I could feel more confident." Well, part of the confidence is locked behind a broken window.
Right. Whatever that broken window is for you in your life, and you have to decide. And so it could be something as literal as something that is undone in your space. It could be something that is emotional, such as a boundary that you are not setting, a conversation you are not having, a limited belief you have allowed to take root in your mind about who you are. She's wrinkling up her face about who you are as a person. And I'm going to tell you right now, if it's one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get after you about limiting beliefs. If it's one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get after you about limiting beliefs because every thought that we have matters.
It does.
Every thought that we have matters.
It
And
does.
I will tell you, definitely I've had moments of limiting myself. And if it shows up now, I'm gonna deal with it. Like I can't tell you that I never have a limiting belief. I'm only gonna tell you that when I locate that sucker, when I
Mm.
locate when I locate that sucker, it's on. That's all I can tell you. I feel about a limiting belief like I feel about a roach. You won't stay here. You
Wait a
won't
minute.
stay.
Wait a minute.
You won't stay here. You won't stay here.
How do we get on roaches?
I'm just letting you know that's how I feel about it because things are pervasive and things are slick and cunning and so much of the time we are not paying attention to the little thing but let one roach come and what's going to happen? All the rest of the roaches are coming too. That's why if I was to ever see a roach, I'm telling you, you're not staying here. My friend, my brother KP, he'll be over here spraying. He'll be over here spraying because you're not going to stay here because it's pervasive. If you let one in, it'll take up. Cow, where are you at?
I just am trying to figure out how we got here.
What
How did we get here? Because we were talking
what
about
I said
windows.
was
Now we got the roaches. How did we get here?
what I said was is that a limiting belief is like a roach. I'm not going to tolerate it. It can't come here and stay. It cannot. And so I'm telling you that a limiting belief in your life is a broken window, and you need to go back through and evaluate what you are thinking. And when you locate that thing, you need to get rid of it. And if you need help to do that, whether it's on the mental health side or the coaching side, get busy because it's like a roach.
And on that note, we don't want y'all to have no roaches.
Y'all know it's true. Here's the thing. I really love the conversation around limiting beliefs because I think that's a big portion of the broken windows that we have. And I'll go this far as to say this. Excuse me, even if you're dealing with that cluttered counter, you might have the thought of like, oh, this is too big for me to handle. Oh, this is
Mhm.
going to take too much time. Oh, what's another word for it? Oh, it's always been that way. Nothing's
Mhm.
going to change. Especially if you're living in a household that's not just you by yourself and there are other
Mhm.
people that are cluttering up that counter. Oh, this is a lost cause, right? To
Mhm.
me, all of those things are limiting beliefs. And so it can show up in something as simple, quote unquote simple, as a cluttered countertop.
Yeah, and here's a definition I want to use now that we've done talking about roaches. I want to use this definition. A belief is simply a thought you have allowed to repeat itself. It's a thought that you thought more than once. It's a
Agreed.
thought that you thought enough times until you no longer have to think it, it's automatic. You just
Agreed.
believe it. It's
Agreed.
foundational. It becomes a pattern. It becomes the running narrative on which your life is built. Okay?
Agreed.
But it all starts with a thought.
Agreed.
So the first time you walk past that broken window, you have a thought. The 10th time you walk past that broken window, you have a thought. The 100th time you walk past that broken window, you might not have that same thought, but the belief is already there.
Right.
And that belief goes with you wherever you go, whether you see the window or not. So the idea is that you want to be crystal clear about where in your life there is a broken window and where in your life you know that that broken window could be something different. And for some people, they're not exactly sure, like the window's been broken so long they don't know what it looks like to not be broken.
Girl, this window always been broke. I didn't know this window could even have a whole pane. It was always like this as far as I can recall. That's what somebody think.
So some of you really, as a part of your mid-year reset, what is really important for you to do is get a vision, a visual of what it might look like for that thing to not be broke. To get a clear, they say, write the vision and make it plain. Get clear about what what this would look like if it was no longer broke because it's been broken so long you don't even know.
She's not lying. She's telling the truth. There are some things that we have dealt with for so long that have been there for so long that we have accepted it as the norm. When the truth of the matter is that it's really not the norm. But I want you to think about that, like, whatever journey you're on, if you're on the track with this limited belief, this broken window, how will you get to your destination in a sense of wholeness, like in a space of healthiness? How will you get there? And we we're going to encourage you to just be inquisitive. Like, here's the
Right.
thing. Many of us can tell you about the love lives of people that have big social media presences or are on television. We can tell you so and so's birthday. We can tell you all their kids. We can tell you what they wore on their last album cover. We can tell you when they went to Italy. We can tell you all of those things, and we cannot tell you why we believe we can't have a healthy romantic relationship. We can't tell you why we believe we can't be, our healthy weight. We can tell you why we can't tell you why we don't believe we can have good credit. We can't tell you why. Because we are spending so much time in the lives of other people that sometimes we're
Right.
neglecting our own. And I can even bring it closer. Some of us are micromanaging our friends or family because they making decisions that we do or do not agree with or do or do not support, and we are all up in their stuff. And I'm just going to encourage you to get back on your side of the table, back on your stuff. That's what I want you to do. Why are you what?
I feel like the Holy Spirit wants me to say this, but I don't want to say it.
Oh, now she's gonna blame Jesus. Now she's gonna blame the Holy Ghost. Oh my gosh, this ought to be good. I'm listening. She said she don't want to say it. It's gonna be really great. Okay, go if you're
Some of
watching.
y'all For some of y'all looking at y'all kids like they the broken window, and they're the excuse for you not to look at your own.
We love you though. But we really do love you here at Love Your Lifeline.
Your children are not your broken window. You have a broken window in your own life, and you using your children as an excuse to not deal with your own broken window.
Give them an example so they can know that they can tell if it's them. Tell them what to look for.
If you are so concerned about whether or not your child gets launched into the career of their dreams, but you still work at the job that you hate,
Wait a minute now. You could have tiptoed over there. Why'd you go to make it a little easier on the people?
if you are putting your house into hock to make sure that they can continue to go to dance class and AAU, but you can't justify the $55 to go to the gym every month.
Oh, I got one. You running off every boy to come to the house for your daughter, knowing that your sneaky link ain't no good.
Mm.
You know that man, you know you wouldn't bring that man around your kids, and yet okay. But you gonna run off every little girl that come around for your son, 'cause she's not good enough. She's 12. She's 12, ma'am.
So the
Yeah.
point is you need to pay attention to your own broken window. And don't get distracted by other people's broken windows. Okay? Because what I know about high achievers and high performers and oldest sisters and go to girls and whatever you identify as, you do a very good job of running other people's lives and worrying about everybody else's everything. But when it comes to your life, you are last on your own list.
Well, I don't know what to do from here. I don't know if the people can take anymore. I don't know. Here's the
I
thing.
wasn't gonna say that. That wasn't on nobody's notes, and it wasn't in my mind. I wasn't gonna say it.
It definitely wasn't on the notes. Definitely. Here's the thing. One of the things I would love for our Love You to Lifers to consider is that you getting truly deeply invested in your life. And this is how I want to say it. Falling in love with your life
Mm,
is the best gift you can give your kids.
for
Like,
sure.
that is the best gift you can give your kids. When you show your daughters how to choose partners, and I know, in many cases you might be spending time with somebody and you would never, it's not that deep for you, you don't think or whatever, and you might not bring that person around as what you think is an example for your child. However, the part of you that is still tolerating that is something
Mm,
that your child is going to still see and still pick up on, even when you're not doing it in front of their face, right? If you are the person who's going to choose to get your rest in front of your kids, like, you know what? Mama is tired and I'm going to go take a nap. And no, I'm not going anywhere else today. And I love you. I hope you find something else to do with your time this afternoon, but I'm not going back out now one more time today. I'm about to go rest. Like, if you're willing to do that in front of your children, that's an example of something that actually puts them on the trajectory to be able to do it as an adult too. Because no matter what we say, and in our community, we always do as I say, not as I do. That doesn't work. You don't have anything that is going to make that work. It's not true. The the environment that you create is going to nurture your children. So
right,
whatever you do is the thing that they are going to do. And
right,
therefore, if you've got that child in your life that you want to do something different, model something different for them.
right.
And don't be, and here's the other thing, when you see them doing something that you don't like, you can ask yourself some questions about where they might have seen that from.
Right, because you might be the broken window in their life.
And own it and then go back and do something else. Listen, you can ask my clinical clients, you can go ask them. I have told them when they have come in and been like, Elizabeth, I feel like I went wrong here and I went wrong there, and I'm scared if that I don't with my kid, I feel like I did this, that. I'll be like, look, we did the best you could do. Own it with your kids and give them your health insurance card and tell them go to therapy. And that's fine. And here's the thing, even when you think you've done even a healthier job raising your kids, if you look over and you're like, I feel like I did everything right, still give your kids your insurance card up until they're 26 and let them go ahead and go to therapy, because none of us are perfect. And so the things that we're working through, we're living our life right alongside
Right.
them. They jump in our lives, right? So whatever whatever that situation is, it's okay if something was messed up. It's okay if you didn't do it the way you might would do it now, or if you're
Right.
concerned about the current decision you're making, let them go and talk it through with somebody, but just own it. Hey, babe, I did the best I could do at the time. I thought this was the right direction. I realize now that it wasn't, and I'm seeing you do some of the same things that I have done, and I want to support you in making different choices. Would you consider going to therapy? Here's my insurance card. Let me help you find a therapist. Go and talk this through with them. And that's it.
We wanna have these kinda elevated conversations. We want you to have something that you can, you know, send to somebody else. "Let's talk about this over dinner." Those kind "Look at that clip. I think this is something we need to think about." We want to have these elevated conversations because too often, sometimes it is necessary for you to also have a clinical professional be involved, but sometimes it just starts with us having some honest conversations. Everybody
Listen, when
talks all this talk about like no contact, there's no contact. I'm like, some of y'all, your kids is no contact with you because you don't know how to listen.
I just saw that on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Real Housewives of Atlanta, one of the moms was on there having a conversation with her adult child, and her adult child kept telling her, "But you're not listening and you're not hearing me." And so, even when they went to therapy, obviously we don't see the whole therapy conversation, but I still didn't think that the mom was listening. And she's wondering why her relationship with her daughter is not where she wants it to be. And here's one of the things that also happened, like the mother had recently lost her mom, the grandmother of this child, and she was saying that her mother was her buffer between she and her daughter. She was using her mother to go
Mm,
between the two of them to help them sort out their relationship. And now that her mother was gone, they didn't have that crutch anymore to
right,
do that. And so, like, I think it's so important that we are talking about being willing to let that truth come out. That if you've got that broken window in your life, if that thing is undone, if that thing is glaring at you and it needs your attention, that you're willing to hear that even from people that you love, even from people that you brought to the earth. Like that really is okay that you have that conversation. But it's time out for us to say, because I'm the mama or because I'm the daddy, we can't talk about this. Or I have to be right because I'm that person. And part of that is that we hold space for your humanity as the mama, as the daddy, as the
right.
grandma, as the auntie. And we know that, hey, your role was not necessarily easy and that you did the best that you could do. And so we hold space for your humanity. We want you to also hold space for your humanity. And that means being able to be honest about areas where you want to change and areas that need improvement and areas where you would have preferred a do over if you could have done it over, and that is okay because you are human.
Right. And let's close on this.
Okay, okay.
Most of the time, when you finally decide to repair your broken window, there is grace. Most of the time. I can't say every single time, and I can't, you can't control anybody else's choices. But once you finally acknowledge that the window is broken and do your work to repair the broken window, you usually are met with some level of grace, or at the very least, peace with what is remaining. Because the completion of addressing that broken thing does bring with it some clarity and some closure and some comfort, even if it's not always the exact perfect scenario. So while it can be challenging to acknowledge the things that are broken and to actually do the work to make the repairs, on the other side, it's usually much, much better.
And the other part about that that I would add is that many of us are looking for grace with other people, and I want you to look for grace with yourself. Right?
Mhm.
Like if you don't find a person to give you grace, if that doesn't show up for you, give yourself grace
For
because
sure.
nobody knows like you what you've been through.
Correct.
I was listening to this morning, John P. Key has a song called Life in Favor. And the first part of it says, "You don't know my story. You don't know the things that I've been through." Right. And even when you're telling someone what you've been
You don't
through,
get it.
that's not the same thing as living it. That's not the same
Mhm.
thing as experiencing it. Um, and I consider myself a really good therapist, right? But a great therapist. But I can't say that every single experience I could feel the exact same thing. I'm gonna do my best to put myself in that spot with you and hear you, right? But what you experienced and how you went through it, nobody else can really tell you that. Nobody else can live
Right.
that for you. So, what I would hope that you do, I hope you receive the grace from any relationship that, you want the grace from. But I also hope that you give yourself grace along this journey.
And that's what we got for y'all today. As always, we hope that you enjoyed this episode. We hope that you got something from it. If you like it, we want you to like it, rate it, and review it wherever you happen to find it, whether you're on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. We would also love for you to share this with someone in your network so that they can get a chance to take a listen as well. And obviously, we want y'all to get down in the comments and tell us what you think. Tell us about where you identified a broken window, what kind of a reset you are doing on your broken window in your life. Tell us all the things in the comments and also on our social medias, all of which will be linked right around this episode.
Sounds good, y'all. We love y'all.
And we'll see y'all next time.
Bye.